Hi everybody, I'm Sarah and I'm a recorder player. Telemann's Fantasia number 8 for solo flute or recorder. This is my absolute favourite. We have 3 movements, the Largo, the Spirituoso, and the Allegro. Before we get into the video, I want to have a little kind of old style YouTube chat. If you don't want to have a little chat, in the description is going to be a link where you can skip forward. There's always somebody who comments like, Sarah, stop talking. Sorry. I feel like I've not been on YouTube much recently. This past month has been one of the busiest of my life. I've been on tour, I've been performing, travelling, teaching, and finally now I can sit back down in my studio and film some YouTube videos for you. One question I've been getting is the Team Recorder Virtual Orchestra 2000 subscribers celebration video coming? The answer is yes, but it's just taking me a long time. Up until now, I've only ever edited videos with 1 frame or maybe 2 frames. A lot of you sent in videos. I am having to learn something that I've never, ever done before. So just be patient. 2 more nice things. One is that, my book, My Favourite Melodies. This is for the soprano recorder. Yes, I am officially working on a new book for the alto. I know a lot of you have been asking about that, so yes, the alto book is coming. And the last nice thing that I want to share with you, I am super happy that Team Recorder has been nominated at the Rohmer European Early Music Awards. It's a bit like the Oscars for early music in Europe, and there's some big names up there alongside me, so I am just extremely honoured to be nominated. Team Recorder is up for Media Piece of the Year. Possible without all of you watching, so thank you. Back to the Telemann. If you've skipped ahead, hi, I'm ready to teach now. Telemann's 12 Fantasias for the flute without bass were published between 1732 and 33 in Hamburg, Germany. And we know Telemann loved to publish. He had his own publishing house in Hamburg and he published over 3,000 works during his lifetime. Good source of income, right? He also published 12 Fantasias for violin without bass and also bass viol. As recorder players, we play the flute Fantasias transposed up a minor third because that's how we get into a tonality that fits on our instrument. As a professional recorder player, I've got to know all of them over my lifetime thus far. And number 8, G minor, it's my favourite. I'm going to put a full performance video of this Fantasia over on my Patreon, but for now, let's learn it. First thing you'll notice is this gorgeous polyphonic writing. It sounds like 2 voices weaving through each other. Can you hear the high and the low? For this movement, I'm going to go in per phrase and pull apart the top and the bottom voices because I really want to understand how they're talking to one another. Let's take this opening phrase. First, I'm going to play the bottom voice. Pretty simple, right? We go up, then back down. And remember that because that's going to be a theme of our music later. Let's hear the top voice. I'm going to put them back together and I want you to hear these 2 voices speaking to one another. This is the genius of Telemann's writing. He makes it sound like we have a whole melody and accompaniment with just 1 line. For me, the trickiest part of this movement is around bar 10 to 12. It's building up to the climax and we have these massive jumps. Listen to this. How do we make sense of that? Let's do the same thing. We're going to go in and find our bass line. All of a sudden it's starting to make sense. We have a couple of surprises in there, that F sharp at the end, so that is something we can emphasize. Top voice. Now we can approach this from a technical and a musical point of view. Let's do technical first. How do we make those big jumps speak cleanly? You've heard me say it before, different registers of the recorder respond well to different air speeds. So for those low notes, that under voice, we're going to be using warm, slow air. Practice on your palm first. Taking the time to get that sound I want on those low notes. For the high notes, we're going for a fast, cold air stream. Feel that cold air on your palm. Really focusing, and then we can find that beautiful sound that we want on the high notes. Knowing what you're actually going for is a very essential and underrated part of practice. So let's try and slowly put that together, that warm low notes, cold high notes. I wouldn't worry so much about switching between the two as you play. If you've found how you want to play those low notes and how you want to play those high notes, you're helping your muscle memory to kick in when you're combining them. I hope. And the other essential part of this technical puzzle is your thumb position. Oh, Telemann, why are you doing this to us? Each of those jumps is a different interval. Sometimes we go to something easy like the A or difficult like the D. Just remember, the higher you go, the smaller the thumb opening has to be. So if your high note's cracking, it's almost certainly because your thumb is opening too much. Now, getting tricky technical things like big jumps under your fingers into your system is a long-term process. It might take years to be comfortable with this music, but don't worry, the good news is we can experience the beauty of the music already now. Didn't mean for that to sound quite so cheesy. Sorry about that. So what are we going to do? We're going to find the shape and the phrasing. What I want to avoid is that this just becomes a string of notes. That does not satisfy my soul. Are we going to let the lower voice, our bass line, guide us, or the top voice? Okay, this is me playing the phrase, letting the bass guide me. So I was feeling the movement of where it was going a bit faster forward when it was taking me somewhere and lingering on important notes that grab my attention. Let's turn it around and do the same for the top voice. Now I'm letting the high voice guide me. that. So that felt less intuitive for me. So what I'm going to do is, in this phrase, I'm going to let myself be guided by the bass. But there are two really important moments in the upper melody where we have a rising semitone. You know what I always say, Baroque music, rising semitones, that's going to be an important moment. So the answer to should you emphasize the bass or the melody or the harmony or this or that, the answer is probably all of it. It helps me to zoom out and to see the picture as a whole, to keep it all within my mind's ear. If any of that rambling helps you, hurrah! Let's have some coffee. So much fun. This has a recurring theme. I'm going to play it for you in a moment. If you are learning this piece, I want you to be able to tell me without hesitation how many times the theme occurs. That goes for any piece of early music that has a recurring theme. So we have this bum bum ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da. I want you to go into your music and highlight it. When does it occur? Tonic, dominant, relative major, the fourth, which is one step up, so it makes it feel like, and then back to the tonic, but an octave higher. When shaping the spirituoso, our phrasings are going up and they're going down. So our main theme is a going up. Dun 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 da 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 dum bum bum. And then to counteract this, sometimes you get these long phrases where you've climbed up and you tumble back down again. Example, let's hear the relative major theme. This is in bar 10. We're going to climb up and afterwards tumble down. And again, this tumbling down theme, we have the high and the low voices from movement 1. And with all of this, the spirituoso is a movement that pulls you in all these different directions at once. It's always pushing you forward. So don't be afraid to add in some timing. So listen to this. This is going to be the last theme to the end. The last time the theme comes, it's the same as the opening, but an octave higher. Drama. We're climbing up to the highest note of the piece, the high G, and this is our climax. Then we're tumbling back down again with these high and low voices. And before we get to the coda, I'm going to add in a little timing to emphasize it. Ready? Hope I am. You might think that that's the most exciting part of this piece, but it's not. Oh, this one is so strange and funny, this Allegro. It makes me think of like weird circus music, and I love playing around with it, dancing on the edges of what is acceptable. Would you like to come with me? First, I'm going to play you the opening completely dry and clean. We need to add some articulation. We can play around with a few things. Let's assign staccatos and tenutos to our note values. And in doing this, you might find moments that you like. You don't have to do it all according to the formula. This is just to give you a framework within which you can experiment. And you might have heard me bring in the other element that I really love to play with in this movement, and that is tempo. You can see it as pushing the music forward and pulling the music back. What I've actually done is gone into the second part of this movement and I've coloured it in. Green means going forward, red means going back. I'm going to play it for you now in quite an extreme format. See what you think. This is so much fun to play with our two parameters, connected and separated notes, and pushing the music forward and back. You can already create so much variation. It's really important for me to mention right now that your interpretation that you play in your practice room is yours, and you don't have to do it exactly like someone else. When I've been getting into the Telemann Fantasias, a lot of my brain space was taken up with, is this okay? Is this allowed? Is this right? And you know what? You've got to experiment to find what you like. You've got to try out what works and what doesn't. So much lovely music. Before I close the video, I want to have a brief chat about where to get the music. Editions. I have been playing from the Baroque Solo Book. This is notated for alto recorder and published by Dolce. It has all 12 of the Telemann Fantasias in here. My soprano and tenor players, I have not forgotten you. You should check out the Soprano Solo Book published by Haas. Here, this Telemann Fantasia is transposed for the soprano recorder, so it starts on the D. If you don't have the money to go out and buy a book, you can download the music for free over at IMSLP. And I always recommend IMSLP, but I want to remind you, if you can afford it, please do sign up for their premium membership. It's $32 a year and you are supporting and helping them. If you can afford it, buy the book. I don't want to see any of this. Where can I get it on free download? No. For people with financial means, the best thing you can do is to invest and support in our musical ecosystem. As always, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face down here in the corner. If you'd like to support Team Recorder, you can do so over at my Patreon, and here's some more videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!